Hi guys, welcome back to Roots and Branches. This is Christine Mola, your host. And in our last episode, we explored sacred cycles with our lovely Dr. Beata, and we talked about seasons of growth, rest, and renewal that shape our lives. Because when we begin to honor those cycles, something becomes very clear. There comes a moment, and there's always a moment, where we are asked to make a choice. So not the easy choice, not the expected choice, but an aligned choice. So today's conversation is about the courage to choose yourself. That is a fabulous choice. And today is the episode, yes, the courage to choose yourself, but it is our last episode, recorded episode in the studio for this season 1 on becoming. And it's exciting to be here that we've done 9 episodes. It's so cool. So back to the script. The moments where we step out of expectation, release what no longer fits, and trust ourselves enough to move forward, even when it's uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable, because choosing yourself isn't always loud or dramatic, right? Sometimes it's quiet and it's deeply brave. One of the bravest things we do is to sit there and choose ourselves, right? And I'm honored to share this conversation with my dear friend, a woman who embodies that courage in such a powerful way, ridiculous, as Ms. Tina Kadish.
Thank you.
Applause. So Tina, welcome.
Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Christine, for having me here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you too on our last episode, our last recorded episode for season 1 on becoming. So very excited. Thank you so much. So this is the glow up moment, like I say to everybody else, and we're going to glow you up here. So Miss Tina Kadish, you are a self-proclaimed freedompreneur, certified passion test coach and best-selling author. And her books I do carry at the Bloom Center, who has guided countless women in leaving behind unfulfilling careers, right? Jumping from corporate into self and stepping into lives aligned with their true passions. So Tina's journey began during a pivotal transition. Well, how many have you had?
I've had many shifts.
Right. This particular one was a corporate training and development role that was eliminated that you were in, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And that moment you decided to reevaluate everything and explore your options and move forward.
I did.
So in that process, you discovered the passion test, right? And that is something that you use. It's a powerful methodology that helps individuals identify and prioritize their next, really, right? That's things
right.
that are most meaningful. And you went on to become a certified coach, using this work to support women through their pivots and transitions. And Tina, you are a best-selling author. All right. So yes, I carry the 2 books, but this includes one of her books that shares her deeply personal journey. And that's I met you right after this, through personal journey through the grief and loss after her beloved daughter. So we lost her daughter to cancer in November 2019. Breathe that in, right, dear?
Yes.
So your story is one, as many of the beautiful women that have sat in this chair across from me for the past few months, which has been so fun, of resilience, transformation, and ultimately choosing yourself. And in the face of life's most profound challenges. Truly super duper honored to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. You gave me goosebumps.
Oh, I just gave myself some. No, this is the energy that's been in here. We get those often in these conversations as we spill this tea for 15, 20 minutes, right? So what we want to pivot into right now, just moving into the moment of choice, a defining moment where you chose yourself. Let's begin there.
So yes, I've had so many shifts in my life, so many losses, changes, but the most moment was recently, in like a couple months ago, where I chose myself, leaving a 27-year relationship with my husband.
I'll do it.
And after 27 years,
I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Thank you, that I finally chose myself to not settle, to not be silent, to go with freedom instead of fear. And so, because I really chose myself at that moment, because I've always settled, I've always thought of others. I was really the people pleaser. Absolutely. And the good wife, the good daughter, the goodie. And I finally, it took a while to choose.
It took a long time.
Me. Yeah. It took a long time. And it took a long time.
And that's okay.
So I'm in there right now in that shift.
It's very fresh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we don't get proud of each other for leaving things. We get proud of each other for choosing things.
For choosing things.
Because when we leave things behind, we're leaving it behind. There's grief.
There is grief. There is grief, so the loss of a marriage, the loss of a job, the loss of a child. I mean, I went through all three. Yeah. And the loss of a child was the biggest, the most, the biggest, the hardest.
How do you even describe that kind of a mountain, that kind of a tunnel, unless you've lived it?
I've lived it. But here's the story that I always share is we can always take the better road or the bitter road.
I love that. Wow,
and so when I'm at a crossroad, my daughter passing away, I could either do something good for others or I could wallow in my self-pity.
Wow, that gave me goosebumps. We can choose the better road or the bitter road. And I personally know some very close people to me that have had a loss of a child and taking that better road.
And it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy at all. And that's why I wrote my book about it, because I really wanted to share my story and also honor my daughter. And I'm all about legacy. And so what can I do to honor my daughter, who was a beautiful soul, and writing my second book about it.
And what she brought to your journey. So, loss, no matter what form it comes in, adds to the layers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's not our plan for that stuff to happen.
No, it's not our planet. Right. I'm a believer, and I believe that, my daughter would always say everything happens for a reason, Mom. Don't know what that reason was. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Sometimes we have to release ourselves from trying to figure that out, right? And that's kind of what you did, even in writing that book.
Exactly. I surrendered and trust the process.
Yeah. You choose yourself, and even to segue to that fear and the guilt as we move forward.
Oh yes.
How do you be happy in the shadow of something like that, right?
I know. And that's really how do I find joy again? Because, my business from job to joy. And how do I find joy in the midst
of my head
of a loss, of a loss of a loved one? So important to me. How do you move forward and find joy again? How I find joy again is honoring her, creating a legacy for her. And I have plans for a nonprofit that I will create this year in her honor. And that's what my plan is, to continue. I don't want people to forget her.
Yeah. Correct. And in remembering her, that is you. That is your path. And again, in this conversation of choosing yourself, it's not selfish. It's selfishly unselfish.
Yes.
And you're creating a legacy of her. She gets to have a legacy in that honor with you leading the way.
That's right. That's right.
And let me ask you a question on that. So the guilt, we want to speak of that, because in choosing ourselves, it is a guilty process. Kids, whatever.
So guilt is huge. Even in this recent transition, I felt guilty. Did I make the right decision? Why did I do this? Why did I walk away after 27 years and now starting all over? Because for the first time in my life, I am truly living on my own.
Right.
I have never lived on my own.
Do the scary thing.
So I did the scary thing. With fear, I moved forward. And the biggest was the fear of, will I be able to make it financially?
You just read my mind. That's that loss. That's, how do I do this?
Exactly. And you know what? What you find when you're going through a shift, a change, you are amazing. I am amazing in the resiliency that I've been able to, and the courage. And that I look at myself and I say, I am proud of Tina.
I love that you do that. You have to speak to yourself in those terms.
You do.
I comment often. Now I have Post-it notes in my bathroom on the mirror. And, and it's not because we want to just speak to ourselves all the time. We want to remind ourselves when you're in that moment, right?
That's right.
You are amazing.
Yeah. And it's so important for us to speak well of ourselves. Right. We are always so, negative on ourselves. For sure. We beat ourselves up. I know I beat myself up many times, the guilt, the fear. But it's important for us to really say, you are amazing and you are good enough. You're more than enough.
You're more than enough. And we repeat in these conversations over the past 8 previous conversations is that we are our, and again, I reframe that worst enemy, where we are our best critic.
Yes.
We are our best critic always.
We are.
And when we speak to ourselves, we have to remember that we can accept criticism, joyful criticism, in all ways to ourselves, right?
That's right.
You know?
Exactly.
And climbing through that loss, and reframing loss too. When you finally step away and you the transition that you just made, speaking of the divorce, all right, and your career transitions, when you reframe loss, all right, what does that look like in your picture when you reframe loss?
So reframing loss for me is, I'm looking at it right now. What are the lessons that I learned along the way? And what led me to get here? There's a reason why now was the right time to end the relationship. Because 9 years ago, I was in a situation where I was getting divorced from my same ex-husband.
Right.
And I took him back.
Yes.
And I took him back, but I wasn't ready. So the timing was not right 9 years ago. Now, 9 years later, I lost my daughter and I was ready to let go of that relationship and feel good about it. And I mean, the fear, the guilt was really like, wow, I'm starting all over again. Like, really? I'm not supposed to be starting over at this age. I'm supposed to be like retiring. There is no retire.
What's this supposed to be then?
I know,
right?
retiring, here's the thing. When you love what you do,
Yeah.
you're not retiring. You fit your lifestyle within your business. And so every day waking up with gratitude. And I wrote about gratitude in my book. Being grateful even through the challenges. So I am grateful in this loss, and I'm feeling good about it.
Powerful to be grateful within the loss, reframing that.
Oh, yes.
And going back to the 10 years of the 9 years that you had originally decided that you were going to leave. Some things just need to catch up.
Yes.
And you got to honor that.
Yes.
And you don't realize it until it happened, right? But you honor it.
I honor it.
Hug on that version of yourself that wasn't ready, but here you are.
That's
in
right.
the face of that.
That's right.
And you get to teach now.
I get to teach and I'm living authentically. And that's the thing that a lot of us, we're not living authentically. We're always living someone else's life. We're doing things for other people. We're not living an authentic life.
Alignment. Yeah. And alignment over approval. So when authenticity, alignment, and approval. These three things meet,
They do.
and we don't necessarily need to ask or reach out for approval. It's alignment.
It's alignment.
Yeah.
And I really feel, I wrote my first book about freedom. And was I really living free? Now I can truly say that I'm living free.
That was a seed you planted. You knew that had to come out.
I know. I planted the seed and now I'm truly...
You wrote about it?
Yep, I wrote about it. I help women find their freedom with their careers, starting a business. And now I'm helping women navigate those life
And
shifts.
you needed to read your own book.
I know,
right?
I know.
Sometimes, and we often do that. We come out with these powerful, coaching moments that we have with our clients, things like that we write. And then we go back and go, I'm actually pretty smart. I should have read that before.
I know. I wrote it and I was not living it.
Yeah. And it happens, I guarantee it, to all of us. I know it does to me often, and trusting our knowing. So, again, trusting ourselves.
Trusting ourselves. Really, that trust is so huge. Like when I lost my daughter, I had to surrender and trust the process. Now I'm in the same place, like, okay, God, I know you have a plan for me. I don't know what that plan is, but I'm going to get through it. Yeah. And I am getting through it. It's 6 months later, where I'm living on my own and reframing the language, because I would say, I'm all alone. Oh, poor me. Because we can wallow in that self-pity.
Absolutely.
But no, I'm living independently.
You're reframing the loss.
Loss.
And we can honor the fact that their joy and grief live next to each other all day long. We are, we grieve, but there is joy next door to that.
There is.
Right?
There is.
And when we can understand that, it doesn't make life easier. It makes just life, gives you the ability to walk through it a little bit differently and honor the fact that, I don't feel so great today, but you know what? It's okay to be happy. Tomorrow's another day.
That's right. It's right. It's feeling the feelings. And this is something that I learned through the loss of my daughter. I would always mask my feelings. I would always pretend everything is good until I lost her. And I said, you have to feel the feelings. You got to go through. You got to be vulnerable. So it's okay now if I feel sucky.
Yeah.
I don't feel good.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
And not beat myself up.
I think you have to be that.
You do.
In order to be human, there's that we are humans in a spiritual experience or backwards, that's spiritual bypassing, 9 out of 10 times. We have to live in our humanity. We have to feel the feels. as we said in the intro, uncomfortable choices, and they are uncomfortable.
Oh, amen. They're very uncomfortable, but we have to go through them. We have to walk through the fear. We have to not
Do the
look at it
hard
as
stuff.
failure. Like I, would look at failure. Did I fail the marriage?
Absolutely.
What part did I contribute to this loss?
And I take a peek at that all the time. And again, I one of my things that I say forever, my daughter will tell you, is every time you point a finger, there's 3 more pointing back. Okay. And that's those 3 are awareness. Yeah. I used to, take a peek at those 3 fingers and say, what's your fault? Every time you point, but it's more of an awareness. Sorry. It's more of an awareness, right?
It is.
When you're pointing the fingers back versus giving yourself fault.
Right. Because we can beat ourselves up and say it's our fault. And why did I allow this? Because, something I always say is what we tolerate continues. Mm-hmm. What have I tolerated all these years that has continued?
Oh, amen to that, sister.
And I allowed it.
Yeah,
I mean, I take responsibility that I allowed certain behaviors to happen, and I again settled, silent, and went with fear.
And it's powerful to take a peek at yourself and say, I allowed it.
I did.
Because you can't blame others all the time.
No.
You're giving them the energy of power when you do that.
That's right.
When you take it back, take your power back and say, yeah, you know what? I let you do that. It's
did.
okay though. Right. I set you free.
Yep.
You be you.
You be you and I be me, and
Right. And I choose
Tina.
myself.
I'm choosing Tina.
Yes.
For the first time. I love Tina.
I love Tina.
Thank you.
And that's
I love you
sovereignty.
too.
So, that's sovereignty too. So, in the second episode, I can't remember, with Stephanie, we were talking about sovereignty, and that sovereignty was the word of the year in my book. All right. We all tend to choose words and things. And,
Yes.
And sovereignty doesn't mean I'm stepping up with my queen. Well, maybe it does, but it's stepping into a power, right?
Yes.
Sovereignty.
Yes.
Giving you that fulfillment of I can do this, and not necessarily doing it alone.
Exactly. And the thing that I love is that I have such a great community of women, support system. I have friends like you. Yeah. We cannot do this alone, and we need other people to get through our situation. So don't isolate yourself. Tap into the right people, and we can get through this together.
Tapping into the right people is so important. The community,
yes,
that you bring in, and that's part of the Bloom Center, and that's how you and I met.
Yes.
The first version of the Bloom Center that was, by the Farmington River some years ago, and so much of the community that is sitting in this Roots and Branches podcast came from that.
That's right.
And we continue to go on, and we'll continue to do this. So, let me segue to the everyday moments, right? Now, these are big deal moments that we chose ourselves.
Yes.
What about the everyday little moments?
Oh,
Just being aware, right? Saying the yes, saying the no.
Well, everyday moments is that I do say no to things that don't feel right for me anymore. I would be the yes person, say yes to everything, everyone. Now it's boundaries. If it's not aligned with what I want, feel, I won't do it. That was a shift for me, finally, to say no.
For most.
So the everyday moment is, I don't want to do this today. Right. I'm not going to do this, and feel good about it.
Right. And you know what? Plan A is almost never the plan. Coming from a lifelong planner, right? Personally and professionally. If you wake up on a Friday and you had a whole agenda, but you said, I'm going to the beach.
That's right. And that is true freedom. And this is what I love about being an entrepreneur, is that we can choose what we want to do.
And you teach that, which
I do.
We will, yes. Let's touch on that for a minute, because I would love for you to share your Job to Joy platform.
Okay. So what I do today is I really have my signature program, Freedom, the 7 steps to thrive in life and business. And it's really focusing on doing the inner work. How do we start from the inside and then work out? And, becoming an entrepreneur, maybe your passion, may not. So I teach you to find your passion, living every day, loving what you do, not surviving, but really thriving in your life and really living with freedom. And so that's what I teach. And a lot of women want to start their own businesses. So I help you create your business blueprint as well, because it's not for everyone,
right?
But I want you to really get that clarity and really see yourself, have that vision, because really you want to create a vision for yourself. What does your future self look like?
How do you? Yes, absolutely, and that's
wanna
a
step into
powerful
that.
thing.
Yes,
right.
it is.
Even that 12-month, 6-month doesn't have to be huge jumps. And reaching to what you said, entrepreneurialism isn't for everyone.
No, it is
okay,
not.
it is a thing, and
It
you are
is.
born with it.
Yeah,
Right?
it is a thing. It is a thing.
Right. It's a thing. I've
Definitely
been
a thing.
wrapping presents for my dad in 6th grade. All right. So I knew, and I was making money. So I knew that was going to be a thing.
Yep.
So we're going to talk more about that in another time.
Okay.
And all of that information, again, when we end this, it will be in the show notes. But
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that everybody knew how you really help reframe women and their lives, personally and professionally.
Thank you.
So as we walk out of this episode, this final wonderful episode of Choosing Ourselves, let's leave our listeners and our viewers with something that they can do in the moment right now in choosing themselves.
Is have the belief in yourself that you're amazing, you can do it. And don't let anyone else tell you that you can't. So when you know your why, get deep with your why.
Know your why.
Know your why. And every day thinking about your why. Why do you do what you do every day? And really create that vision for yourself. And let's start dreaming again. I think we've stopped dreaming.
Agreed. And send it up.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Don't overplan it, because we do.
We do.
We
and
do.
our message is life is too short. I know it. I've lived it with my daughter. Today, in the blink of an eye, your life can be over.
Yeah. And don't blink. Oh, gosh.
And my daughter wrote she was a journalist.
Yeah.
And she would say to me, Mom, in one day, in a blink of an eye, my life changed.
There
So
it is.
our lives can literally change in the blink of an eye.
So your beautiful daughter just gave our listeners and us some amazing advice. So
Yes, she did.
Thank her. Thank you. I love you to pieces.
love you to pieces,
Thanks for
too.
being here.
Thank you
guys.
for having me.
Yeah, all of this wonderful Tina Kadish's information will be in the show notes. Keep watching, and we'll just keep going. And until I see you again, stay rooted, stay rising, and always stay blooming. Thanks.